I never thought a simple day at a fancy salon could unravel my entire world. My name is Marina, and I've been married to Ethan for 3 years. But lately, I felt like a ghost in my own home, invisible to the man who once couldn't take his eyes off me. Desperate to feel alive again, I booked a pampering session at Lux Haven, hoping to rediscover the woman I used to be. But what started as a harmless escape turned into a dangerous dance with temptation, as 4 captivating men saw me in ways I hadn't been seen in years. Now I'm standing on the edge of a secret so heavy it could shatter everything. Will I confess, or will this forbidden moment consume me? Picture this. A quiet morning, the kind where the world seems to hold its breath just before the chaos of the day begins. I'm standing in front of my bedroom mirror, staring at a reflection that feels like a stranger's. My name is Marina, and at 24, I've already been married to Ethan for 3 years. We collided into each other's lives back in college, a whirlwind of late-night study sessions and stolen glances that turned into something deeper. Back then, every touch, every whispered word felt electric, like we were the only 2 people in the universe. But now? Now, it's like we're ghosts haunting the same house. He's a software engineer, always tethered to his laptop, working hours that stretch into the night. And me, I'm a freelance graphic designer, sketching away in my little home office, lost in my own world. We pass each other with a quick nod, or a mumbled, "Hey," ships drifting on separate currents, barely acknowledging the other's existence. Lately, I've felt invisible. I could walk into the room in a brand new dress, my hair swept up just the way he used to love, and Ethan wouldn't even look up from his screen. I've caught myself wondering if I've faded somehow, if the mirror is the only thing that still sees me. It's a hollow ache. This need to be noticed, to feel like I matter. I've tried little things, cooking his favorite meals, leaving notes on the fridge, but the spark we had feels buried under layers of routine. It's suffocating, this monotony, and I'm desperate for something to shake me awake, to remind me I'm still here, still alive. That's why I decided to do something for myself, something bold in its own quiet way. I stumbled across an upscale beauty salon online called Lux Haven, a place that promised more than just treatments. It promised transformation. I sat at my desk, the glow of my laptop screen casting shadows across my hands, and I booked an appointment. A facial, a massage, maybe even a whole new skincare routine, whatever it would take to feel renewed. As I clicked confirm, I could almost see the place in my mind. Sleek, modern, with glass walls and soft ambient lighting, the kind of space that wraps you in luxury the moment you step inside. I imagined the scent of lavender and eucalyptus, the gentle hum of calming music, and hands working away the tension I've been carrying for months. It felt like a small rebellion, a way to break free from the gray haze of my days. I wanted to walk out of there feeling beautiful, radiant, like the woman Ethan couldn't take his eyes off all those years ago. Maybe, just maybe, this would be the thing to make me feel seen again. I spent the night before the appointment restless, my mind spinning with anticipation. I lay in bed next to Ethan, his steady breathing a reminder of how far apart we've drifted even when we're inches away. I thought about how I used to catch Here I Am, stepping out of my car on a crisp Saturday morning, the kind of day where the air feels sharp against your skin, waking you up with every breath. I've parked just a block away from Lux Haven, the upscale salon I've been daydreaming about for days. My heart's doing this little dance, part excitement, part nervousness, as I sling my bag over my shoulder and start walking toward the glass facade that glimmers in the sunlight. This part of town is all high-end boutiques and cafes with outdoor seating, where people sip lattes while looking effortlessly chic. I feel a bit like an imposter, like I've stumbled into a world I don't quite belong to, but I shake off the thought. Today is about me, about reclaiming something I've lost. As I push open the heavy glass door, a tiny bell chimes above me, and I'm hit with a wave of pure luxury. The interior of Lux Haven is even more stunning than I'd pictured. Marble floors stretch out beneath my feet, polished to a mirror-like shine, reflecting the golden accents that seem to be everywhere. On the light fixtures, the edges of the furniture, even the delicate frames of the mirrors lining the walls. Soft ambient music hums in the background, a soothing melody that instantly eases the tension in my shoulders. There's a faint scent of lavender floating through the air, mingling with something earthy, maybe eucalyptus, just like I'd imagined. It's like stepping into a sanctuary, a place where the outside world can't touch you. A woman behind the sleek reception desk looks up as I approach, her smile warm and genuine. She's in her 30s, polished to perfection with her hair pulled back into a neat bun and a tailored blazer that screams professionalism. "Welcome to Lux Haven," she says, her voice smooth as silk. "You must be Marina. We've been expecting you." There's something about the way she says it that makes me feel special, like I'm not just another client on the schedule. She checks me in with a few quick taps on her tablet, then gestures toward a plush waiting area with cream-colored sofas that look softer than anything I've ever sat on. "Please, make yourself comfortable. Someone will be with you shortly." I sink into one of the sofas, and it's like being enveloped in a cloud. A small glass of cucumber-infused water is handed to me by another staff member, the coolness of it refreshing against my lips. As I sip, I take in the scene around me. The staff move with a kind of effortless grace, all of them dressed in sleek, trendy outfits that make my simple jeans and sweater feel painfully out of place. Their hair is styled just so, their makeup flawless, and they carry themselves with a confidence I can only dream of. I catch snippets of their conversations, light laughter, quick exchanges about appointments and products, and I can't help but feel a little intimidated. This place is a whole other league, and I'm still sitting there on that impossibly soft sofa, the glass of cucumber water now empty in my hand, when a group of 4 men approaches me. Their presence is magnetic, each one carrying a distinct energy that pulls my attention in a way I didn't expect. I'm caught off guard, my pulse quickening as they introduce themselves with easy smiles. There's Jake, with a mischievous grin that hints at a playful side, his quick wit evident in the way he tosses out a light-hearted comment about how I've picked the perfect day to pamper myself. Then there's Liam, the quiet one, his intense eyes locking onto mine for just a moment too long, making my breath hitch. Noah steps forward next, clearly the leader of the group, his commanding presence filling the space as he assures me they'll take good care of me. And finally, Caleb, the charmer, his smooth voice wrapping around every word like honey as he tells me how lucky they are to have me here today. They guide me to a private treatment room, the atmosphere shifting as the door closes behind us. The space is intimate, with dim lighting casting a warm glow over everything, and soft music playing in the background. A gentle melody that seems to seep into my bones. I settle onto the cushioned table, the cool touch of a facial cleanser against my skin, sending a shiver through me as one of them, Jake, I think, begins the treatment. His hands are steady, professional at first, smoothing the product over my cheeks with a light, practiced touch. I hear the low hum of their voices, a comforting murmur as they discuss the steps of the process, their tones blending with the music in a way that makes me feel cocooned. Safe, but then something changes. It's subtle at first, almost imperceptible, like a shift in the air. Jake's fingers brush against my hand as he applies a mask, lingering just a second longer than necessary, the contact sending a jolt through me. I tell myself it's nothing, just an accident, but my heart starts to race anyway. Liam leans in close to explain a product, his breath warm against my ear, the proximity making my skin prickle with awareness. His voice is low, almost a whisper, and I can't focus on the words, only the sensation of him being so near. Noah's voice cuts through next, deep and suggestive, as he tells me I deserve special care. The way he says it, making my stomach twist in a way I can't quite name. And Caleb? Oh, Caleb. He leans down, his lips close to my other ear, and murmurs that women like me shouldn't feel invisible. His words striking a raw, aching nerve deep inside me. It's like he's seen right through the walls I've built, straight to the emptiness I've been carrying for months. I'm spiraling now, my thoughts a tangled mess. Their attention, their words, their touches, they're intoxicating, filling a void I didn't even realize had grown so vast. Ethan's indifference has left me starving for this, for someone to see me, to make me feel alive again. I'm not used to this kind of focus, this kind of heat, and it's overwhelming in a way that both thrills and terrifies me. My heart is pounding so hard I'm sure they can hear it, each beat echoing in my chest like a drum. I know I should pull back, say something to stop this before it goes further, but there's a dangerous pull, a current dragging me under, and I'm not sure I want to fight it. I've been invisible for so long, and now, here, in this room, I'm the center of their world. It's a rush I didn't expect, a warmth spreading through me that I haven't felt in ages. And then, it happens. I lose control. It's like a dam breaking, all the pent-up longing and frustration spilling out in a single reckless moment. What started as flirtation, as lingering touches and charged words, escalates into something forbidden, something I never thought I'd allow myself to cross into. I'm caught in a haze, their hands guiding me, their voices a siren call I can. As the door to the treatment room clicked shut behind me, I felt like I was stepping out of a dream, or maybe a nightmare, back into a world that hadn't changed, even though I had. My legs were shaky, my breath uneven, but Jake, Liam, Noah, and Caleb carried on as if nothing earth-shattering had just happened. They were all smiles, their voices light and professional, as they finished up the last steps of the facial. Jake handed me a warm towel to wipe away the remnants of the mask, his grin casual as he joked about how I'd be glowing for days. Liam murmured something about a hydrating serum, his tone as steady as if we'd only discussed skincare the entire time. Noah, with that commanding air, reminded me to drink plenty of water to keep the results, while Caleb, ever the charmer, suggested a follow-up product with a wink that felt both innocent and loaded. It was surreal, this return to normalcy, like we'd all silently agreed to pretend the storm of emotions and forbidden boundaries we'd crossed in that room hadn't existed. Inside, I was a mess. My heart hadn't stopped racing, hammering against my ribs like it was trying to break free. My hands trembled as I clutched the towel, though I hid it by pressing them into my lap. Guilt clawed at me, sharp and relentless, tearing through the haze of exhilaration that still lingered. What had I done? How could I have let myself fall into that moment, that rush of being seen, of being wanted, when I knew the cost? My mind spun with questions I didn't have answers for, replaying every touch, every whispered word, every second where I'd let go of who I thought I was. But on the outside, I forced a smile, nodding along to their tips about moisturizing and avoiding the sun, as if I wasn't unraveling beneath the surface. I had to hold it together, had to act like I was just another client, even though I felt like a stranger in my own skin. What struck me most was their detachment. Not one of them asked for my number or hinted at wanting to see me again. There was no lingering glance, no secret promise in their smiles. It was as if what happened was just another part of their day, a fleeting interaction that meant nothing beyond the walls of that room. That realization hit me like a cold wave, leaving me feeling both relieved and hollow. Had I been nothing more than a momentary distraction to them? Or was this their way of protecting us all, of keeping the lines from blurring any further? I couldn't tell, and the uncertainty gnawed at me as I gathered my things, my movements mechanical, my thoughts a tangled knot I couldn't begin to unravel. Stepping out of the treatment room, I caught sight of myself in one of the salon's many mirrors. My reflection stared back at me, and I almost didn't recognize the woman looking out. My skin did have that promised glow, my features softened by the treatment, but my eyes, they betrayed everything. They were wide, haunted, carrying a weight that no amount of pampering could erase. I looked the same, yet I felt utterly transformed, as if a piece of me had been left behind in that room, replaced by something I didn't yet understand. I turned away from the mirror, unable to face myself for too long, and made my way to the front desk to settle the bill. The receptionist, the same polished woman who'd greeted me earlier, beamed as I approached. "You've got such a beautiful glow," she said, her voice warm, almost conspiratorial. "Doesn't it feel amazing to treat yourself?" I forced a smile, my lips tight, and nodded as I handed over my card. Her words echoed in my head, and I wondered if she could see through me, if that glow she saw was just a mask for the storm raging inside. Did she sense the shift, the secret I now carried like a stone in my chest? I mumbled a thank you, avoiding her gaze, and signed the receipt with a hand that still wasn't quite steady. Leaving Lux Haven, I stepped back into the crisp air of the morning, but it didn't feel refreshing. As I pull into the driveway of our little suburban home, the weight of the day presses down on me like a physical force. The engine hums to a stop, and I sit there for a moment, gripping the steering wheel, staring at the familiar red brick facade that suddenly feels like a stranger's house. My chest is tight, my thoughts a chaotic swirl of guilt and lingering adrenaline from what happened at Lux Haven. I take a deep breath, trying to anchor myself, but it does little to calm the storm inside. I step out of the car, the gravel crunching under my boots, and make my way to the front door, each step heavier than the last. Pushing the door open, I'm greeted by the quiet stillness of our home. It's late afternoon now, the golden light filtering through the curtains, casting long shadows across the hardwood floor. The faint, comforting smell of coffee lingers in the air, a remnant of Ethan's morning ritual. It's a scent that usually grounds me, reminds me of lazy Sundays when we'd sit together with steaming mugs, talking about nothing and everything. But today it only sharpens the ache in my heart, a bitter reminder of the distance between us, and the secret I now carry that threatens to widen it even further. I hang my coat on the rack by the door, my hands trembling as I fumble with the fabric. My fingers feel clumsy, like they belong to someone else, and I have to pause, pressing my palms against my thighs to steady them. My breathing is shallow, erratic, and I force myself to inhale deeply, counting to 3 in my head before letting it out. I need to act normal, to pretend that today was just another day, even though every nerve in my body is screaming otherwise. Clearing my throat, I call out in a voice I hope sounds casual. "Hey, I'm back." Ethan is on the couch in the living room, his long legs stretched out in front of him, one hand lazily scrolling through his phone. He doesn't look up right away, just gives a small grunt of acknowledgement, his focus still glued to the screen. It's a scene I've walked into 100 times before, but today it feels different, like I'm an intruder in my own life. I linger by the doorway, watching him for a moment, taking in the familiar slope of his shoulders, the way his dark hair falls just a little too long over his forehead. He's so unaware, so completely oblivious to the turmoil churning inside me. And that ignorance cuts deeper than I expected. Finally, he glances up, his hazel eyes meeting mine for the briefest of seconds before they flicker with something, curiosity maybe. His brow furrows slightly, a subtle shift in his otherwise neutral expression, and he tilts his head just a fraction. "Why do you look so happy?" he asks, his tone light, almost teasing, with no trace of suspicion. It's a simple question, one that shouldn't carry any weight, but it lands on me like a punch to the gut, knocking the air right out of my lungs. My mind scrambles, racing through a dozen possible responses, each one feeling like a lie piled on top of the betrayal I've already committed. I force a smile, the corners of my mouth twitching upward in a way that feels unnatural, almost painful. My heart is hammering so hard I'm sure he can hear it, but I keep my voice steady, light, as if nothing in the world could be wrong. "I just spent a day for myself," I say, the words tasting bitter on my tongue. It's not entirely untrue, but it's a hollow version of the truth, a carefully crafted mask to hide the raw, messy reality of what I've done. I watch him closely, searching his face for any sign that he senses the deception, that he can see through the facade I'm struggling to maintain. But Ethan just nods, a small smile tugging at the edges of his lips, a flicker of warmth that used to make my heart skip in a different way. "Good for you," he murmurs, his attention already drifting back to his phone, the glow of the screen pulling him away from me once again. He's completely unaware, blissfully. As Ethan's attention slips back to his phone, I stand there in the doorway, feeling like a shadow in my own home. The rest of the evening passes in a blur, a series of mundane moments that somehow feel heavier, tainted by the secret I'm carrying. We sit down for dinner at our small kitchen table, the clink of forks against plates filling the silence between us. Ethan talks about a glitch in some code he's been wrestling with at work, his voice a steady drone as he explains the details. I nod along, offering small smiles and murmurs of agreement, but I'm not really there. My mind is elsewhere, trapped in a loop of memories from earlier today at Lux Haven. I pick at the pasta on my plate, each bite tasteless, as I try to focus on his words, on the normalcy of this moment. I ask him a question about his project, something trivial to keep the conversation going, and he answers with a half smile, oblivious to the storm raging behind my eyes. We chat about my latest design gig too, a logo I've been tweaking for a client, but my voice sounds hollow even to my own ears, like I'm reading lines from a script I don't believe in. Every ordinary second of this evening feels corrupted now, stained by what I've done. The way Ethan passes me the salt, the casual brush of his fingers against mine. It sends a jolt through me, not of warmth, but of guilt so sharp it steals my breath. I keep replaying the day in my head, over and over, like a film I can't pause. I see the dim lighting of that treatment room, feel the charged air, hear the low, tempting voices of Jake, Liam, Noah, and Caleb. I'm torn in two, caught between the crushing weight of remorse and the lingering heat of being desired, of being seen in a way I hadn't been in so long. It's a memory that burns, both a thrill and a wound, and I don't know how to reconcile the two. I catch myself staring at the table, lost in thought, and have to force my gaze back to Ethan, hoping he doesn't notice the distance in my eyes. Those 4 men at the salon, they were a fleeting escape, a dangerous rush that swept me away for a moment I can't take back. Now, they're just ghosts in my mind, shadows of a choice I made in a haze of longing. I can still picture Jake's playful smirk, Liam's intense gaze, Noah's commanding tone, and Caleb's honeyed words, each of them a piece of a puzzle I shouldn't have tried to solve. They offered me something I craved, a mirror to reflect a version of myself I'd forgotten, but at what cost? Their detachment afterward, the way they moved on as if nothing had happened, left me feeling like I'd been both awakened and discarded. It was a thrill, yes, but now it's a weight, a secret that sits heavy in my chest, threatening to spill out with every word I speak. I don't know if I'll ever go back to Lux Haven. The thought of stepping through those glass doors again, of facing that marble-floored sanctuary with its lavender-scented air, fills me with a mix of dread and a strange, forbidden pull. Could I walk in there and pretend it's just another appointment, just another day? Or would the memory of what happened linger in every corner, in every mirror's reflection, mocking me with what I allowed myself to become? And then there's the bigger question, the one that gnaws at me even more. Will I ever tell Ethan the truth? Could I sit across from him, look into those hazel eyes that once saw all of me, and confess the boundary I crossed? The thought alone makes my stomach churn, a cold sweat prickling at the back of my neck. I imagine his face, the confusion, the hurt, maybe even the anger, and I don't know if I could bear to see it. Or worse, what if he doesn't react at all? If the distance between us has grown so vast that even this wouldn't shake him? I don't have answers, only a tangle of fear and uncertainty that I can. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story.